MaxBang is back in action. Welcome back, everyone. This show is called the MaxBang. My name is Max, and I like to drink coffee. I guess we'll just do the old intro. MaxBang is a 20 to 25 minute sit around, hang around, chit chat, podcast, mukbang, bangle dangle. So grab a cup of coffee and how's your mother? We're back, baby. Shout out to everyone who is an original fan of the MaxBang. Shout out, first and foremost, as we do with every episode, or as we will do with every episode, moving forward. Shout out to the people eating alone. The peas. I remember back when I used to have an office job, I used to eat at my desk alone all the time. And it was great. I mean, I had a cubicle. I was an actual office worker. And I would just, I'd go out and I'd get my lunch and I'd walk back to my little desk and I'd, set everything up. And I'd spend like 5 or 10 minutes looking around on YouTube because I wanted to find a 25 to 30 minute video that I could just press play and watch it. Usually I had headphones. Almost always I had headphones for a couple of reasons. One was that I really liked listening to music, but that will get you into trouble. I'll get back to that in a second. Anyway, I used to get like a 30 minute video so I could just put it on and just eat my lunch. A nice Italian sandwich or a nice chicken parmesan. My old office, the only walking distance place was a place called a Wine and Cheese Cask. Do you know what a cask is? No, neither do I. I mean, what am I, a friggin' dictionary, dude? Anyway, it was called the Wine and Cheese Cask. A cask is a casket or jewelry box container that is usually smaller than a chest. So it's like a mini treasure chest. So it's called the Wine and Cheese Cask. It was pretty small. They had a bunch of wine, they had a bunch of cheese, but more than anything, they had a bunch of fucking sandwiches. Oof, my God. They'd make it fresh right in front of you. They just pile on the sun-dried tomatoes. That's sneaky, in my opinion. There's a couple of sneaky tricks to good sandwiches. One, fresh bread, obviously. Two, cut the meat as soon as, right before you eat it. The reason some sandwich companies are crap is because they cut all their meat for their subs and somewhere else. It's cheaper, I get it, but it tastes like shit. So you want the meat to be cut right before you get the sandwich. That's why delis make really good sandwiches. And then the other trick is olive oil. Oil and vinegar on your sandwich. Salt and pepper, oil and vinegar. Fantastic. And for some people, me especially, sun-dried tomatoes go a long way on almost any friggin' sandwich. I guess you could say I'm a bit of a sandwich snob. Shaka. Anyway, I used to walk down to the Wine and Cheese, get my sandwich, walk all the way back to my cubicle, sit down at my desk, pop on a video, and then you know what I mean? I'd want to like tune out. So shout out to all the people eating alone. This video is for you. First and foremost, big life updates for old Max. I moved in with Brittany, first of all. Moved in with Brittany, moved out of my old place. I mean, I loved that place. That little house was right on the beach. It was up in Malibu. Hi, buddy. Beautiful, beautiful ocean view. It felt like I was living in a ship. But more than anything, it felt like I was living in a treehouse, and I could hide away from all the world's troubles, not to get too friggin' theatrical or whatever. But it was great. I lived with a couple of buddies. We lived in a frat house. It was a mess. There's beers everywhere. PlayStation every night. It was fun, but one thing led to another. I wanted to move in with Brittany, and now I live here with her, and I am the luckiest guy in the world. Couldn't be happier. Got a little cat who is deciding to come sit, maybe, probably, kind of, sort of. I will tell you, it's been a couple years since I had a pet, and I did not realize how lovely it is to have a little animal just sitting here. Hold on. In there, yeah. It just makes you, it's so flattering. All he wants to do is pay attention to you. All he wants to do is stand on your computer for some reason, it just makes you happy. And I really did forget how lovely it is to have an animal. Now, is it cool to have a cat? Cooler to have a cat or a dog? I don't really care. I just prefer something that I can put on my lap. Hey, what are you doing? What? Get out of here. It is lovely. It's a little bit of a nuisance sometimes. What are you going to do? It comes with the territory. So am I suppose. The life update, I moved in with Brittany, and it is superb. She works a lot, the poor thing. She's been working a little tail off, going to photo shoots and going to classes and going to dance classes, and going to auditions and all that business. And it's funny to see somebody firsthand how hard they work on a day-to-day. And Brittany works pretty friggin' hard. All right, Kat, calm down. Jeez Louise. As lovely as it is to live here with her now, moving itself was the biggest pain in the ass. Moving sucks. Moving is such a nightmare. I will say a couple of tips. One, I sprung for movers this year. Every other time. I mean, I've only moved a couple of times in my life, thank God. But every time I used to move, you just get a bunch of your buddies together and you just pay them in pizzas and beer. And you're like, hey, do you mind helping me out moving this Saturday? Blah, blah, blah. And it's, you think it's not going to be a big deal. And it every single time ends up being the biggest, most annoying thing ever. Because you're all like, man, I don't even have that much stuff. I have like a bed and a couple of clothes. Boom, I'm done. But you start putting stuff into boxes, and before you know it, you have like 15, 16, 17 boxes. And if you don't live on the first floor, you're going up and down flights of stairs, you're carrying boxes, you can only carry so much shit. You don't realize how dirty everything is because you never moved it. Like, it's a nightmare. So, I think part of me marginally, mildly, flimsily growing up was this year I sprung for movers. Pretty expensive, all things considered. Considering, I should say, that I usually spend $0 on movers because they don't exist, I would say this was very, very expensive. But, I mean, it was a fucking dream. I spent a couple of days, I put everything I wanted in boxes, and I put a big pile of boxes in my old living room. And then when the movers showed up, I pointed them to stuff, and I said, this whole pile of shit here, that's all mine. That bed, that's mine. This chair, that's mine, And this is fragile. This is not fragile, blah, blah, blah. And they just looked at me, and they looked at each other. They said something in Russian to each other. And then they were like, okay, 5 minutes. And these two friggin' guys took all of my shit and just put it in a truck in, 4 minutes, 37 seconds. And it was amazing. Then they drove all the shit here. And then, I got to the new place and I was like, okay, that's going to go there. That's going to go there. And they were like, no problem. I don't mean to be like sort of a Russian, not, racial profiling or whatever, but the motherfucker's name was Dmitry, I'm pretty sure. I think it was Sergey and Dmitry, two Russian guys. I'm like, you fucking with me? Or, all right, well, just tell me if you're going to rig an election or whatever. These two guys were so strong and so quick, and it was just like that. It was so easy, so nice. Highly recommend movers if you're ever going to move again, because it's just the worst. My old gym back in Boston, I used to go to Gold's Gym in a Somerville basement. It was like a strip mall, or out in LA. Out in a lot of LA and a lot of parts of California, a lot of parts of the West, I think they have strip malls. 3 or 4 one-story things in a row. There's a laundromat, there's a CVS, maybe there's a bar, but usually there's like a nail place. That's a strip mall, and they're all in a line, a strip, if you will. Landing strip, pubic hair. There you go. In Boston, it felt like we didn't have strip malls. We had more like mini plazas. And what I mean by that is like you drive in, it's a little bit bigger, but not that much bigger. And it's usually on like a L or an angle. So there's a line of stores, and then there's a line of other stores, and there's a huge parking lot in the middle. So this one is called Twin City Plaza. It's in Somerville. There was a nail place. There was like a shoe place. I'm pretty sure there was a like a Rite Aid or whatever. There was a Rite Aid. I know for sure. There's definitely a Dunkin' Donuts because I used to go there all the time, dude. Hey, dude, you want to go to Dunkin' Donuts? And then there was, in the basement of one of them was a Gold's Gym. Best gym in the fucking world. You go in and the ceilings are so low. Like if half the dudes, the shit was like right above their head. So it was tough to do overhead presses. You had to sit down to do overhead presses. Gold's Gym in the basement was this dingy ass fucking Gold's Gym. Smelled like standing water. There's just a lot of iron. They could pick up a lot of shit. Luckily there was a tanning booth, the tanning salon in the Gold's Gym. High class, fancy shit. But there was a moving company in Boston called Gentle Giant Moving Company. And they had these sort of maroon shirts. Gentle Giant. The logo was a good idea. It was just a big fucking giant. And he'd pick up all your shit and he'd put it wherever. Smart. But clearly, Gentle Giant Moving Company had a relationship with Gold's Gym where I'm sure they bought like 500 passes or whatever at a discount and then gave them to all their, because like out of 100 people in the gym at any given time, I would say like 60 of them worked for Gentle Giant because they'd wear their Gentle Giant t-shirts and they would speak Gentle Giant lingo. I don't know. They'd talk about, and these dudes, I could never believe it because to a man, none of them looked like bodybuilders. None of them looked like, they looked athletic, but not like, holy shit, that guy can dunk. Regular ass dudes. And they would put up, the amount of weight these guys would pick up was bananas. And I've seen bodybuilder type dudes. I've fucking hung out in Gold's Gym in Venice, the mecca of bodybuilding. These like regular ass, unassuming looking Gentle Giant Moving Company dudes, they could put up some serious weight. And I've seen people put up weight and they can put up some serious fucking weight. I used to love that place. One of my favorite things in the world was one time these two guys, there's the machine there. It's just like a freestanding pull-up bar. And then so it's two poles coming out of the thing and there's a pull-up bar across the top. And then on the other side, there's two horizontal poles coming out so people can do dips. Like, you know what I mean? Dips. So on one side you do pull-ups and then you walk around to the other side and you do dips. Only one day, two guys happen to be using the motherfucker at the same time. They used the same machine at the same time. And so one guy would go and then the other guy would go, but it wasn't like an even pendulum swing. It was sort of off. And so eventually at one point they both walked on and one dude did pull-ups and one dude did dips and they were like face to face, like eye to eye doing exercise. And they're both like, oh, sorry, buddy. And I'm like, man, that is the sexiest thing I ever seen in my life. Woo. Gold's Gym, Twin City Plaza. Oof, what a spot that place was. They also had the Dunkin' Donuts right there. I used to go in and get the they had like little hash browns. It's like their equivalent of French fries. Clearly, like Dunkin' Donuts people got together and they were like, all right. So McDonald's and Burger King and all these other fucking guys, they can just like throw fries on there. So what are we going to do? We can't, are we allowed to serve fries at 7 a.m. in the morning? And I think obviously to a man, they were like, no, close, but no. Onion rings, sure. Fries, I don't think so. So they got together and they made those little like, they're like mini potato latkes. I don't know. They're like hash browns. They're like circular hash browns and they are delicious. Good Lord, they were delicious. It's funny, like that time of my life was so hard, like so every single day. And I was, it's different because you're young. You don't understand like how things are, how easy things are, how like hard you have it. You're just sort of pushing through it. I guess that's the same for any day, any age, I should say. But at that point, I was working all the time. I was drinking hammered every night. I was like going to the gym, obviously. I was doing all this shit. I don't know how the hell I had any energy to do anything. But I would wake up and I'd feel like just wrecked. And for some reason, just like dragging myself to Dunkin' Donuts, getting a coffee, and getting some hash browns or whatever. I was like, all right, fuck it. I can get through today. The absolute power of a hash brown. Anyway, welcome back to the MaxBang. I'm so happy to be back. I'm so happy to be figuring out this little format. I think how these are gonna go. Let's talk about a plan for the MaxBang, because I'm so glad you guys are back, and I'm so glad we can be doing these things again. I think the plan for the MaxBang, they're gonna come out on Monday mornings. And Monday morning, to me, was the worst day of the work week. The whole point of this, and this just sort of started out because I wanted to make Brittany start her mukbang channel, which I did. Or which I bullied her into starting a channel, and now she's crushing the mukbang channel. Shout out to Mukbang Monday. But the idea for me on these was, what would I want to give myself if I was in the cubicle way back then? Or if I was on the treadmill way back then? Or if I was driving for an hour every morning like I used to. That was kind of shitty because my old job, I lived right next to my old office, but I worked for a real estate company. And so we would have, I'd have to look at buildings. Maybe we're going to buy it, or I'd have to like do showings because we own a bunch of apartments and someone wants to rent it. Or we'd have a construction site and I'd have to go make sure everything was on schedule, or if they needed any help with anything. So I could walk to my office. In fact, I did walk to my office a lot, especially when it was snowing, because I didn't want to drive. It was too fucking dangerous. But some days I would have to drive wherever, And so like I was psyched because I live 5 minutes away from my office. I get to my office and 9:05, my boss is like, "Hey, guess what? We need to get you up to North Andover. Sorry, it's 45 minutes away. Hop in the car. See you later." Cool. And anyway, sitting down in my desk on Monday morning was always so tough. Because it was like, man, I got the whole fucking week ahead of me. Are you shitting me? This is back when I didn't love my job. I liked my job a lot. It was the coolest office job I could have. It was the coolest cubicle job I could have. But that wasn't for me. Maybe it's for some people. It wasn't for me. So some days it would just be draining, and I would hang on to things. A really good example was on Monday morning, I would be so excited about the lunch I was going to get at the Wine and Cheese, bringing shit full circle. Hey, how are you? And to get that excited about lunch was so funny. Looking back on it, at the time I didn't realize how odd that is, or how weird that is, or whatever. But I'd be so psyched. I'd know exactly what type of Italian I'm getting, the hot pepper one. I'd know what kind of chips I was going to pair it with. Usually like the pepper, the cracked black pepper, personal favorite. So it got to the point where I was so excited about other things that I would not really care about my job as much. So I'd have to hang on to the little rays of light, like Monday morning checking my favorite blogs or whatever, and just fucking around on the internet. Monday lunch, what am I going to do for lunch? So anyway, shout out to you guys. This is for you. Monday morning, you can budget this wherever you want to budget it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure to leave them in the comments below, because I'm going to be budgeting some time every episode for comments from last week's video. Okay? Speaking of, why don't we get to that right now? Little bit of a skis move. What I did was I put it on the community tab of my main Max No Sleeves channel. I don't know if you've noticed, I haven't uploaded a Max No Sleeves video in a long time. Might as well explain that inside joke, because it's an inside joke that literally, zero people on the planet understand. In the 10th grade, I had a math teacher called Mr. Leong. And the way my school worked was we had blocks every day, so in a different order. So my A block would be history. My B block would be math. My C block would be English, blah, blah, blah. So Monday, the first block would be like E, A, B, F, whatever. And I didn't realize this for about 6 months. But the blocks were different times. So the first block of the day, no matter what it was, would be 40 minutes. The second block of the day, no matter what it was, every single time, would be 70, 75 minutes, like fucking long, like long. And I remember we would go into math class, and I didn't like put it together, but I knew that every Wednesday I would have math class second period, and it would be like the fucking longest day of my life. And our teacher's name was Mr. Leong. And so we'd, second period would run around, get to class, motherfuckers. Second period would come around and we'd all hustle into math class and we'd look at each other and be like, it's going to be a long day. So now I say that a lot when I think something's going to be trying or it's going to be a tough day to get through. It's going to be a long day. Make sure to say that to each other. So I haven't uploaded a video to the regular Max No Sleeves channel. I'm not sure. I might start doing highlights of this to shit. Well, we'll see. The reason being I haven't uploaded is a couple of reasons. One is I just got tired of doing stuff. Like, first of all, I got tired of doing stuff on that channel because anything I did, people talked about old relationship stuff. Sucks, dude. Come on, like, let it go. It's been 6 years, whatever the hell it's been. Two, like, I could tell that something happened to my channel. Like, the reach wasn't getting there anymore, and it clearly wasn't getting served to people, and something was going on with the channel. I don't know what's going on, so until I figure it out, I'm just going to leave it be. And three, like, I wasn't super inspired to be doing silly skits or whatever. I just wanted a break a little bit. And I'm going to be putting up other stuff there, but it's going to be sort of on my own terms. So stay tuned for that. But this one's going to be going up on, obviously, the MaxBang channel. But I put on the community tab of my Max No Sleeves channel, I said, hey, if you need, what do you want me to talk about on a MaxBang? What do you need? What can I help you with? So here's what we got from that. One, what are some current trends you can't get behind? I tell you one thing I fucking can't stand, flossing. The fuck is that? That's got to be the dumbest fucking dance move of all time. First of all, I'm a terrible dancer. So, bam, there you are. I was always terrified of looking like an idiot, which inherently makes you the worst dancer of all time. So I wouldn't even move and I wouldn't even do anything. Then I got to the point where, I stopped caring what other people thought of me in that way. Come here, buddy. So I got to be a little bit of a better dancer just because I didn't give a fuck anymore, but I still didn't have like any moves. I had rhythm because I'm an athlete. I didn't have any moves. I had rhythm, because I'm relatively athletic, but I don't have any rhythm like a dancer has rhythm. When you see a dude dancing or a girl dancing, she just like, the shit just works. And she doesn't stop. She doesn't do two moves and then stop. Like, she has no fucking idea what she's doing. She does two moves, and then she does the fourth move, and then she does the sixth move, and the eighth move. And you're like, God damn, like, God damn. Anyway, I never had that. I just stopped giving a fuck what people thought of me. So, but I will say the one thing I know about dancing is it's fun. It's way more fun when you're dancing with a girl. I'll say it. Girls like dancing with girls. Guys like dancing with girls. Whatever. Flossing has got to be like the least social version of a very social activity. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? You're just standing there like a fucking weirdo. And that backpack kid, oh my God. When you looked up backpack kid, look up his Instagram. Bananas. What a fucking world we're on. All he does is he goes to like Ultra, Coachella, all these like super crazy festivals and stuff. And he just does this weird little backpack floss. And you're like, is this fucking kid gonna emote at all? Does his face like, the fuck, dude? Flossing makes me want to throw someone out of a window. So thanks, Angelique. Thanks for the question. One, Claire, how was the transition of moving with Brittany? It was terrific. Moving was a real pain in the ass, and we're still getting stuff set up. Appliances are a pain in the ass. We have like 30 coffee makers. but we don't have any coffee makers. I have an espresso thing and 2 French presses and a Keurig, but we don't have an actual regular drip coffee, which is sort of a weird one. I don't know. We have a toaster, but we don't have a toaster oven. It's weird. Whatever. It's going well. It's just fucking exhausting. And then setting up my life. I got to find a new gym. I got to find a new grocery store. I got to find a new, bar. I got to, you know what I mean? Like, I got to figure out where all this stuff is. It's real pain. I got to find some friends over here. I don't know anybody who lives over here, except for you, big guy. Will you ever get a dog? Yes, eventually. I'm happy having a cat right now. It's been a while, and I love this little puppy dog. And then finally, Sharon, how to live grateful. I'll leave you this because this is one of my favorite stories of the last ever. So the other day, I'm having a pretty tough day. This fucking dude stole my exact video. Like, he took a video that I made and then frame for frame remade it. Let me preface this. It's not an original concept. The idea is called couples sleeping position. What your sleeping position says about you as a couple, essentially. It's, I got it from a Cosmo article and I decided to make fun of it. I get a lot of my ideas from Cosmo articles because I think Cosmo's a fucking ridiculous, outdated, whatever. So I make the video and it's fine, whatever. And then I see this fucking dude and he makes like shot for shot, frame for frame, word for word, the same fucking video. And I'm like, am I fucking crazy? What the fuck is this? So I DM the dude. I'm like, hey, what the fuck is this? He's like, yeah, dude, totally. I was inspired by your video, so I recreated it. You should be flattered. And I was like, fuck you, recreated it. That's not inspired. That's not a thing. You don't get inspired and recreate something. You get inspired and create something. You do couple sleeping positions, and then you make up your own fucking jokes. Or, how a couple like eats dinner together, what that says about them or whatever, you know what I mean? That you get inspired to create something new. You don't get inspired to recreate. You don't get inspired and like pull out your tracing paper. Like, what the fuck? And I was so pissed. And the dude was like, dude, whatever, like, sorry, I meant to, like, it was just so scummy. So I was pissed off. I was pissed off at the world. I was pissed off that I made, like, he literally remade the video and it did better than mine, obviously, because he had a more clickbaity and he had a scumbaggier thumbnail and he had a bigger Instagram at the time or whatever. So I was pissed about that. Brittany had a fucking tough day. She goes to one of these auditions where I don't know if I ever bitched about auditions in LA, but auditions in LA is the dumbest fucking thing in the world. We'll get into it next episode. But auditions, they say, all right, we need a girl, 4 or 5 girl dancers. So everyone please show up here on Saturday. So on Saturday, guess what? 600 fucking people show up. And then they say like, all right, you guys can go. All right, now let's see. Okay, you guys can go. And they sort of whittle it down. So the longer you stay there, the fewer people there are and the closer you are to booking the gig. So the worst is what happened to Brittany is when, she stays there all fucking day for hours. And then it's sort of, close to the end, they're down to like 35, 40 people, she gets cut. And it's like, that sucks, and at that point, it's not even down to who's like a good dancer and who's a bad dancer. It's like, does this girl match with that girl? Or like, we have too many blonde haired girls. We need another brown hair. You know what I mean? Like, it gets down to petty and it's super weird shit, but they don't tell you. So your mind can fucking obviously go crazy with it. Like, are my earlobes too big? Or like, was I not enunciating enough? Or like, blah, blah, blah. So it's the fucking nightmare. And I can't believe Brittany does it. It's insane. Anyways, she had one of those where she gets held to the end and then she gets cut. I'm sorry, baby girl. I don't know if you don't want me to tell you the story. But so anyway, she texts me. She's like, I'm coming home. Do you want to get a bite to eat? I'm like, sure, we'll get a late bite. And so she comes home, and we're sort of walking to, there's like a corner bar, sort of a fancy bar. It's like there's like a band, and they have really good vegan food, actually. And so we're walking there, and I am not totally depressed. I don't think I get depressed. I think I have bouts of wicked sad. Where I'm on the lowest rung of the ladder, but all I have to do is get through the afternoon or evening or whatever, and then I'll be fine again. So I get pretty fucking low, but it doesn't last that long, so boo-hoo for me. Anyway, I'm having one of those times where I'm like pretty bummed. I know that Brittany had a tough day. because that's tough for anybody. She takes my hand, and we're walking to dinner, and she starts swinging her hand, and she goes, "Aren't we lucky?" What? Like, like never in a million, she's saying, "Aren't we lucky that we found each other? We're going to get a nice like bite to eat, and then we're going to go home, and we live together, and we got a cat, and blah blah blah." And we can do stuff like this. We can go grab a bite, and we can, we have opportunities to do this. She was just being so thankful and like counting her blessings. And never in my wildest dreams would I have thought to do that. When I get sad, I'm like, I'm going to stew and be miserable, babe. So like, that's my move, is I'm going to be fucking miserable. And all she could say was, "Aren't we lucky?" And it's the smartest fucking way to do it. It's so much better. Just being grateful. Like, if you're ever feeling down, just like my Oma always used to say, if you're ever feeling down, count your blessings. It's nice to be reminded of that. Anyway, that'll do it for this episode of the MaxBang. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the bell notification. Here's the things that helps these types of videos and help the channel. As soon as you see the video, go right to YouTube and watch it. Watch it in its entirety. Watch it and tag and comment below it, and hit the fucking like button. Come on, what's it to you? You just click another button. You're gonna be clicking buttons all day. So click that thumbs up and keep banging.
Baby